I am going to talk about the story of Ruth and Naomi. This story is recorded in the book of Ruth, and it is a beautiful narrative of loyalty, love, and the providence of God working through human relationships. It unfolds during the time of the Judges, a period of moral chaos and national instability in Israel's history. This story not only illustrates the power of steadfast loyalty, but also demonstrates how God's providence can transform personal loss and loyalty into blessings that extend beyond the immediate context, affecting generations to come. The narrative begins with a famine in the land of Israel, prompting Elimelech and his wife Naomi, along with their 2 sons, to move to Moab, a foreign land. Sadly, Elimelech dies, leaving Naomi with her 2 sons, who marry Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. About 10 years later, both of Naomi's sons also die, leaving her with her 2 daughters-in-law, Ruth 1:1-5. With her husband and sons gone, Naomi decides to return to Bethlehem, hearing that the Lord had provided food for his people. She urges her daughters-in-law to remain in Moab and remarry. Orpah eventually stays, but Ruth clings to Naomi, displaying remarkable loyalty. Ruth's famous declaration, "Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." Ruth 1:16 marks a pivotal moment of faith and commitment, choosing Naomi's people, and more significantly, Naomi's God, over her native Moabite identity. Upon returning to Bethlehem, Ruth seeks to provide for Naomi by gleaning leftover grains in the fields, as allowed for the poor and the foreigner under the law. She ends up in the field of Boaz, a relative of Elimelech. Boaz is kind to Ruth, instructing his workers to leave extra grain for her to glean, impressed by her loyalty to Naomi and acknowledging her refuge under the God of Israel. Ruth 2:11-12. Naomi, recognizing Boaz's role as a close relative and therefore a potential kinsman redeemer, a concept in Jewish law where a relative could redeem the land of a deceased relative and marry his widow to raise up offspring in his name, guides Ruth in approaching Boaz for marriage. Ruth follows Naomi's instructions, and Boaz, moved by Ruth's kindness and loyalty, agrees to marry her, provided a closer relative refuses the role of redeemer. The closer relative relinquishes his right, allowing Boaz to marry, and Ruth bears a son named Obed, who becomes the grandfather of King David, situating Ruth, a Moabite, in the lineage of not only David but ultimately Jesus Christ, the Messiah. Matthew 1:5-16. Ruth's loyalty to Naomi, leaving her own country and God's, illustrates the depth of love and commitment that should characterize our relationships and our commitment to God. It reveals God's providence, working through the lives of ordinary people to fulfill His purposes, reminding believers that God is at work even in the mundane aspects of life. Ruth, a Moabite, becomes part of God's plan, highlighting that God's love and purposes transcend ethnic and cultural barriers. Naomi's life, marked by loss and bitterness, is transformed through Ruth's loyalty and Boaz's kindness, illustrating how God can bring blessings and redemption through trials. The lineage of Ruth and Boaz leading to David and Jesus Christ demonstrates how acts of faithfulness and loyalty have long-lasting impacts, reminding believers that their faithfulness can have significant effects beyond their lifetime. The story of Ruth and Naomi encourages Christians to remain loyal and steadfast in their relationships and in their faith, trusting in God's providence and plan. It reminds us that no act of kindness or faithfulness is insignificant in God's economy, and that He is always working in and through our lives, often in ways we might not expect, to bring about His redemption and glory. If you find this video helpful, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more motivational videos. Your support means a lot to us.